For years, the conversation around machine learning has been dominated by the engineers. We talk about neural networks, deep learning algorithms, and the complex mathematics behind the code. We discuss how to build models that can recognize images or predict stock market trends. But there is a shift happening that is far more significant than the code itself. The technology is maturing from a theoretical discipline into a foundational infrastructure. As machine learning becomes commoditized and embedded into the daily operations of major industries, the most critical work is no longer just about building the tools. It is about governing them. We are witnessing the emergence of entirely new job categories that have nothing to do with writing Python or optimizing gradient descent. These are roles designed for the human element of artificial intelligence. They exist to bridge the gap between the mathematical rigor of the algorithms and the messy reality of the world where those algorithms live. To understand this shift, we have to look at what happens when machine learning stops being a novelty and starts being a utility. Consider the concept of a prompt architect. In the early days of generative artificial intelligence, people thought of prompting as simply typing a request into a chat box. But as these systems have grown more capable, the role has evolved into something much more specialized. A prompt architect is not just a user. They are a designer of interaction. They understand the nuances of how a model interprets language and intent. They construct the specific inputs that guide the system toward a desired output with high reliability. Think of it like directing a play. The actors are the large language models. They are incredibly talented and can perform almost anything. But without a director to set the scene, manage the timing, and guide the emotional arc, the performance falls apart. The prompt architect provides that structure. They translate human needs into the specific syntax the machine understands, ensuring that the output is not just technically correct, but contextually appropriate. This role requires a deep understanding of the model's capabilities and limitations, combined with strong communication skills. It is a hybrid of linguistics, psychology, and technical knowledge. Now consider the other side of the coin. If one role is about directing the machine, another role is about ensuring the machine does not cause harm. This is where the AI ethics compliance officer comes in. Research into machine learning highlights a distinct gap between the theoretical mathematical rigor required for generalization bounds and the practical complexities of deploying these systems in dynamic environments. A model might be mathematically sound in a lab, but when it is used in healthcare, finance, or electronic markets, the stakes change. Bias in training data can lead to discriminatory outcomes. Hallucinations can lead to financial loss. An AI ethics compliance officer is responsible for auditing these systems before they go live and monitoring them afterward. They ensure that the deployment aligns with legal standards and societal values. They ask questions that the engineers might not think to ask. Is this model fair? Does it respect user privacy? What happens if the system fails? This role is critical because the literature extensively covers supervised and unsupervised learning, yet there is less synthesis on the specific ethical implications or long-term societal impacts of these advanced models beyond their technical performance. As machine learning becomes a foundational infrastructure, the need for governance becomes as important as the need for innovation. Here is the thing about these new roles. They are not just add-ons, they are becoming central to the value chain. The field is currently characterized by a dual trajectory. On one side, we have deepening mathematical understanding of chaotic systems and Bayesian designs. On the other, we have scaling these tools for diverse domains such as combinatorics, econometrics, and emotional processing. The integration of these theoretical advances into robust, scalable industrial frameworks remains an ongoing area of development. This is exactly where the human element becomes the bottleneck and the solution. Think about human-machine interaction. As we move toward the servitization of artificial intelligence, where AI acts as a service rather than a tool, the interface becomes the product. We are moving away from systems where a human has to know how to code to systems where a human has to know how to negotiate with an algorithm. This requires a new set of skills. It requires empathy, critical thinking, and the ability to spot when a system is drifting from its intended purpose. These are skills that cannot be automated. They are inherently human. The barrier to entry for machine learning is lowering significantly through curated, modular educational resources. However, this democratization of access to the field means that more people will be interacting with these systems. The more people use these tools, the more potential there is for misuse or misunderstanding. This creates a demand for specialists who can manage the relationship between the user and the system. It is not just about making the model work. It is about making the model work for people. We are seeing this play out in financial risk management and healthcare. In these sectors, the cost of error is high. A model that predicts a loan default incorrectly can ruin a life. A model that misdiagnoses a patient can cost a life. In these contexts, the prompt architect ensures the query is precise, and the ethics officer ensures the decision-making process is transparent. They work together to create a safety net. This is the servitization of AI in action. The technology is available to everyone, but the trustworthiness of that technology depends on the people managing it. This shift represents a fundamental change in how we view the technology. Machine learning is rapidly shifting from a theoretical discipline to a foundational infrastructure where major tech companies are investing billions to build proprietary tooling and platforms. This signals a transition toward commoditized artificial intelligence capabilities. When a capability becomes a commodity, the value shifts to the application and the governance. The engineers build the engine, but the new roles drive the car and ensure it stays on the road. The most effective learning pathways combine structured theoretical frameworks with extensive hands-on projects. But for those entering the workforce now, the focus should not just be on mastering the code. It should be on understanding the ecosystem. The field requires practitioners to master both paradigms of deep learning and traditional machine learning, but it also requires them to understand the societal context in which these tools operate. The divergence in the field where deep learning dominates complex perception tasks, while traditional machine learning remains critical for structured data, means that the workforce must be diverse. We need people who understand the math, but we need them more than we need people who just know the syntax. Ultimately, the future of machine learning is not just about smarter algorithms. It is about better systems of human oversight. As we integrate these theoretical advances into robust, scalable industrial frameworks, we are realizing that the technology is only as good as the people who manage it. The prompt architect, the ethics officer, the interaction specialist. These are the architects of the new digital reality. They are the ones ensuring that the dual trajectory of mathematical understanding and practical scaling actually serves humanity. The tools are becoming more powerful, but the responsibility is becoming more human. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.